Thought today I'd show you this altered book. It was a child's storybook I got from a car boot for a few pennies, but the pages were all falling out and the cover was quite bashed, but I just really liked it, so I bought it. And what I did was I cut into the cover here, took all the pages out that were loose, and the ones that were still sewn together I kept, and then in between sewed in some different papers of my own, and then stuck it back into the spine, and then just put, I don't know if you can see it very well there, I've got some like almost like sellotape if you like, but it's got like lace drawn on it, and used that, so glued it back in and then used that just to connect it together. I've used it for a Gromit Unleashed book to record with the photos and things I bought and got on the day when we went to Bristol to do Gromit Unleashed, and then again later on in the year when we went to the greatest dog show in the world. If anybody knows me, knows how much I love Gromit, and they did this thing in Bristol where Aardman Animation is, where they had these huge 5 foot tall grommets, and they had different artists decorating them, or celebrities, and so they were all different. I think there was 80 in total, and they had people from the Beano, Harry Hill, Paul Smith, Jules Holland, just loads of people designing different grommets, and they were on a trail all over Bristol, and it was really great. So this was like the map you got. So I put this on the front cover because it explains what it is: 80 grommets, 10 weeks, 1 city. And this is some packaging I've used, and I've roughed them up round the edge to just sort of make it not so perfect if you like, because it doesn't really go with the battered cover, and then I've just Mod Podged it to give it a bit of longevity really, because of people handling it and that. Then on the back I've put this on, and this is you can buy the models, sort of about 8-inch models of each of the grommets, and this was some of the packaging that they come in. So this way up grommet, so I put that on the back, and Mod Podged that too. So inside then, I've made a pocket here with some old postcards, and I've used these old Wallace and Gromit postcards throughout as journaling cards really, and these were a couple of postcards I bought when we went there. This is one of my favourite ones, and this is one that a special thing that Nick Park did for the occasion really, and that was about I suppose that was about, I don't know, 6 foot tall. It's quite a big sort of model that was. And then here I've put another piece from the packaging that just explains about Gromit Unleashed. And I've also ages ago I bought some Gromit rubber stamps, and so they're in the book throughout as well. Just, I didn't colour them in anything, just sort of a black one, in black ink, sorry. This is another piece of the packaging that I've used, and this was from a leaflet, and on the back I put a bit, this is the large bridge that's in Bristol, and this was the grommet that was near there, so I've fussy cut him out and put him next to the bridge sort of thing. This was some more packaging, and this was one of my photos, is one of my favourite ones that we saw. So here I've just done some journaling, explaining what happened, where we went, why we went, and I also used these in my little Cavallini stamps. I've used them before with the little pointing finger, and then throughout I've used different washi tapes. So this was a photo off their website, so I printed it out, Gromit doing his trail map himself, and this was some when you buy one of their models you get an invoice with this on the top, so I've used that as well throughout. On the back here, this is another photo from the website, and this again was from one of the maps, I think, actually, one of the leaflets, so I cut that out just to show how big the grommets are. And then this was the first grommet we saw when we got there. Absolutely loved it, and the kids were screaming to get their photos with it and that, but I managed to get him on his own, and he looks sort of quite cute there. I mean, you can see people in the background, and some of the photos where there was lots of people in the background, I have cut the people out. So this was something else you had on the day as well when you were doing the trail. You got this passport, and what you had to do is in 6 locations there was these embossing stamps, and you had to get them in each of these. As you can see, I didn't get any in this one, but my husband and I, we got a couple in our other ones which I've saved. This was just a blank one which I thought I'd just put in there to show, and I've explained there what we did with it. This is the second one we saw, and he was on a boat. So I've cut this out from a leaflet, and then these are my photos as well. And that's pretty much what I've done throughout. There's a few pages of scrapbook pages I've put in here, but generally it's the book I've reused. It's that really nice soft paper, because the book was from about 1951, I think. So I've tried to use as much as the book as possible, because I didn't want to lose, you know, what the book was originally. It's one of my favourites. Look at his little face. And I've used the scrapbook paper, most of it comes from Die Cuts with a View. I think it's their summer collection. So yeah, some more bits of packaging and some more photos. Here's one of the maps which I've left intact, and it sort of explained where they all were, and who designed them all, and a map of Bristol if you were going for the day, and then all sorts of information about the money that was raised. It's for Bristol Children's Hospital, for new equipment and things, and so far I think they've raised 3.8 million. That's fantastic. So here's another Gromit. This was a photo I took, and then there's a different one, and they're roughly in chronological order, but I couldn't quite remember how we saw them on the day, so I've tried to do my best there. There's another one. This one here, there was 2 that are inspired by Elvis, so this is one of them. It's called Hound Dog, as you can see here. This is another photo, and I've just altered the book. This page here was all right at the bottom, so what I did was just made it smaller. It was all roughy and tatty at the top. And there's the other one that's Elvis inspired, which I liked as well. And then there's some more different ones. I've tried to get all 80 in here, one way or another, whether it be from a picture from a leaflet or my actual photo, or there was maybe some on the maps or leaflets I've got. So I've tried to sort of get everyone in. This was another one of my favourites, and I've got the model of this one because I think it's so nice, called Jack. This one's one that was by Kath Kidston, and there's the picture of it, and I just some journaling about that, and I put some Kath Kidston stickers in there as well. This was another favourite, Where's Wallace, or in, you know, he's like Where's Wally, isn't he? Or if you're American, Where's Waldo? So he's really cute. And put a paper bag in. This was from Danielle, I think, from in the swap we did for Journal Junkies. We did the recipe swap, and she sent me this bag with some things in. So I used the bag. That's one of my son's favourite grommets. That's the Kraken, so they put extra arms and legs on him. This one here is inspired by The Secret Garden. This was a photo of when they were actually taking them out and putting them on display, and the local paper sold them, so I bought some of those too. Here's another one we saw, not my favourite one, but this is nice. This is with it's got the cosmos on it, and it's called Grosmos. This one was by Harry Hill, and all these bits, these blue bits here, are all from packaging, so I've used that. They also did an app that you could download for your phone, and so when you were standing near a grommet on location, you could press that and it would like mark off, and it would give you points, and Wallace would talk to you and tell you you'd done well and things. And my husband bought it, so we did it when we were there on the day, and then he kept forgetting to turn the volume down, so every time it came on it played the Wallace and Gromit theme tune wherever we were. It was really funny. But then we saw loads of other people doing it as well, so it was all right. This was a leaflet about them putting out the grommets, and so I folded that up. It took a team of 10 people, 1 forklift, 2 lorries, total of 26 hours to install 80 grommets. And then there's some arriving by the riverside. Some of them came on trains because there's a preserved railway track down there, and so some came on trains as well, which was really good. This was, as I said, I've used some old postcards, so I used them as my journaling spots, which I thought was quite apt really, because I've picked the ones with mostly Gromit on, some with Wallace on. This is what the embossing stamps would have looked like if I'd have got them all, and I think I've only got 2, to be honest. And that's a piece of packaging I used. And then here's some more photos as you go through, and as you can see, I've tried to make it interesting, things that I remember, things that I liked about them. If I just flick through, I don't want to bore you at all. There's some of the map there, just to show what the map was like, and it's got all the grommets located, and I think the green ones meant they were outdoors, the red ones meant they were indoors, and there's some others that we saw along the way. It was really interesting. This is the one that Pixar did, so they sent it from Bristol all the way to California, so Pixar could turn it into Gromit Lightyear, and then they sent it all the way back again. So there's John Lasseter from Pixar when they finished their Gromit Lightyear. This was some more leaflet, and what I did was I used it as a pocket. And there's some more of my stamps that I've put on there. And then after the event where they were all on a trail around Bristol, they put them all together in one exhibition, and they called it the Greatest Dog Show on Earth. So those that you couldn't get to see, they gave everybody an opportunity to see all 80 together. But also because one of them, the classic Gromit, they put on a train and sent it to St Pancras station in London, and he was like escaped. He got on the train from Bristol and went to London, you see, so he was in the London station, and so it gave everybody an opportunity to see all of them. This again is some more packaging. Another photo. Now these some of the photos from the exhibition. As you can see, they're all lined up next to each other, and they had sort of like different categories of dog, and they sort of classified them together. This one here is Vincent van Gogh, and this one is the one we saw on the boat at the beginning. This is Roger, Tutankhamun, or Gromit as it's called. This one here is Isambard King Dog Brunel, which I think is so funny, so cute. And then there's Tiger. This was a snow dog. This was done by Raymond Briggs, who did the snowman. This is one of Zebra, and there's some more here. This was a monkey, and then some more here, another photo. This was done by a famous gardener, so he's like covered in astroturf. Golden Gromit. This one here was covered with over 10,000 1p pieces, and then they designed this special coin to go in the back. And as I say, after this event, they were all auctioned off, and some of them went for, I think, the Gromit Lightyear went for something like £60,000. Some went for astronomical amounts of money, but all for charity, so it's all a good thing, isn't it? And so this is what I've done with my altered book. I just think it's a lovely way to make a stack of photos that were just all Gromit be a bit more interesting, and make you sort of look and think about what they've achieved, making all that money for charity. So there's a few things here. I've made a little pocket page there with the one of the pages again that was very ripped, and then there's some here about the auction. This is my collection I had for Christmas Day. And then on the back here, I really like this picture. So what I did was I just cut out this from one of the postcards and just stuck it in the middle, and that's the original picture from the book, just to end it. So I hope you think that's interesting.